Hi, let us today discuss about the lumbar vertebrae. You know there are 5 lumbar vertebrae, of which first 4 are typical lumbar vertebrae and the last one is atypical lumbar vertebrae. Lumbar vertebrae is different from cervical and thoracic vertebrae by the presence of two processes called accessory process along the root of the transverse process and mammillary process along the posterior border of the superior articular facet. We'll talk about it later. So the lumbar vertebrae can be identified by the presence of two things. One is accessory process or tubercle, and the other one mammillary process or tubercle. So these two are seen in lumbar vertebra and are absent in thoracic vertebra and cervical vertebra. And what are these two? Like if you see here, you can see a small roughened elevation seen at the root of transverse process. This is a transverse process. At the beginning of the transverse process, you can see a small elevation here. That is called accessory process. Similarly, the posterior border of superior articular facet is thickened, and the thickened part is non-articular, and that is called as mammillary process. So the presence of accessory process and mammillary process or accessory tubercle or mammillary tubercle at the root of the transverse process and at the posterior border of superior articular facet is the feature of lumbar vertebra, with the absence of costal facets on the side of the body, which is a feature of thoracic, and foramen transversarium in the transverse process, which is a feature of the cervical vertebra. Now coming to the description of typical lumbar vertebra. Which are typical lumbar vertebra? L1, 2, 3, 4 are typical lumbar vertebra and L5 is atypical. The features of a typical lumbar vertebra, if you see, this is a lumbar vertebra. The features include a body, the same thing I am putting it on the figure also, a body which is in front, a spinous process which is behind here, body in front, spinous process behind, and this is vertebral foramen which is triangular and roomy. And if you see here, this is the pedicle, this one is a pedicle, and this is transverse process which is here, transverse process, and this is superior articular facet, this is a superior articular facets, and these two are the inferior articular facets which are convex and directed forwards, and this portion is the lamina, and this is a spinous process. So these are the basic parts of a vertebra. We'll try to describe one by one. Now coming to the body. Body is thick, body is larger when compared to the other vertebrae. It is transverse diameter is more than the anteroposterior diameter. The transverse diameter is more than the anteroposterior diameter. This body on its superior surface and on its inferior surface, it is related to corresponding intervertebral disc on its superior surface and inferior surface. In the midline of the body, along its midline, anterior longitudinal ligament is attached. By the sides of it, the right crus of diaphragm and the left crus of diaphragm extends. Although the right crus is confined only to the upper 3 lumbar vertebra, left crus of the diaphragm to the upper 2 lumbar vertebra by the side of the anterior longitudinal ligament. And more laterally here, on either sides it is the corresponding psoas major muscle. Psoas major muscle takes origin from sides of the body of all the lumbar vertebra. So anterior longitudinal ligament, the right crus of diaphragm, the psoas major. Anterior longitudinal ligament, left crus of diaphragm, left psoas major, and posteriorly in the midline of the body, the posterior longitudinal ligament is attached. So from anterior to posterior, anterior longitudinal ligament, crus of diaphragm, psoas major, and then the posterior longitudinal ligament. The posterior surface of the body is, you can see numerous small thin perforations or holes in it, that is meant for the passage of the basivertebral veins. So this is all about the body. Next we will come to vertebral foramen, which is triangular in shape, and it transmits till the level, at the level, if it is L1 vertebra, first lumbar vertebra, it is a conus medullaris. At the lower border of first lumbar vertebra, the spinal cord ends as a conus medullaris. From there it is continued as filum terminale. So that filum terminale passes through the vertebral foramen, and by the sides of it the corresponding nerves in the form of tail of a horse, representing a tail of a horse, which is called as the cauda equina. All those are present here, surrounded by pia mater. Okay. Now this is the pedicle. This is the superior vertebral notch, which is shallow. This is inferior vertebral notch, comparatively deeper than the superior vertebral notch. When articulated, this inferior vertebral notch and the superior vertebral notch of the next bone forms the intervertebral foramen, from where the corresponding spinal nerve emerges out. Coming to the superior articular facet, this superior articular facet is concave, and it is directed, and the concavity is directed posteromedially. It is directed medially and posteriorly, whereas inferior articular facet is convex downwards. It is convex downwards. Superior articular facet is concave and directed posteromedially. Inferior articular facet is convex downwards. Superior articular facet articulates with the inferior articular facet of above vertebra. Inferior articular facet articulates with the superior articular facet of the lower vertebra. Along the posterior border of the superior articular facet, there is a thickening, already I have said, that is called as the mammillary process, which is a special feature of the lumbar vertebra. Okay. Now coming to this one, which is the spine, which is the lamina, which is directed posteriorly and medially, and the lamina of both the sides join to form the spinous process. To this lamina, along its lower half of its anterior surface of the lamina, the ligamentum flavum is attached. The ligamentum flavum is attached, and along the posterior aspect of the lamina, the muscles of the back are attached. Now coming to the spinous process, this spinous process, unlike other vertebra, that is the cervical and thoracic, here it is quadrangular in shape. It is quadrangular in shape. To the spinous process, supraspinous ligaments and interspinous ligaments are attached, and to this tip of the spine, the posterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia is attached. The posterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia is extending from the tip of the spine of the lumbar vertebra. Now coming to the transverse process, this transverse process is thin and tapering in the typical lumbar vertebra, and to the tip of the transverse process, the middle layer of thoracolumbar fascia is attached. Posterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia is here. The middle lamella of thoracolumbar fascia is here. And along the anterior aspect, you can find a small, you can feel for a thin ridge. That ridge gives attachment to the anterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia. Area lateral to this ridge gives attachment to a muscle called quadratus lumborum. So this is about the transverse process and its attachments. To summarize the attachments: anterior longitudinal ligament, crus of diaphragm, psoas major, posterior longitudinal ligament, deep muscles of the back, supraspinous ligament and interspinous ligaments, posterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia, middle lamella of thoracolumbar fascia, anterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia. Area lateral to it is the quadratus lumborum. And we have medial arcuate ligament of diaphragm extending from the body of first and second lumbar vertebra to the tip of the transverse process of the first lumbar vertebra, and from here the lateral arcuate ligament which is attached to the lower border of the 12th rib. So this is all about the typical lumbar vertebra, which are 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the typical lumbar vertebra, the distance between the two articular facets the distance between the two superior articular facets is wider than the distance between two inferior articular facets. If you see the fifth lumbar vertebra, which is atypical, because this is the fifth lumbar vertebra which is atypical because the distance between the two superior articular facets is slightly less than the distance between the two inferior articular facets. This distance is more than this distance. So that's why it is atypical, because this inferior articular facets should articulate with the superior facet of the sacrum, which are wider. That's why the inferior articular facets in case of the fifth lumbar vertebra are wider. And the other difference is the transverse process is very short and thick. The transverse process is very short and thick, unlike the other typical lumbar vertebra where it is slightly thinner and elongated. And this transverse process is like encroaching onto the pedicle. So these three features makes it atypical. The atypical lumbar, if you see, the first difference is in case of typical lumbar vertebra, the distance between the two superior articular facets is more than the distance between two inferior articular facets. Whereas if it is fifth lumbar vertebra, the distance between the two superior articular facets is less than the distance between the two inferior articular facets. So it is like this. So this is L1 to L4 and this is L5. Although according to some, L4 they say the distance between both the superior and inferior articular facets are same, but is included or is considered as the typical lumbar vertebra itself. So the fifth lumbar vertebra is atypical because the inferior articular facets are wider apart than the superior articular facets. Number 2, the transverse process is short and thick. Number 3, the transverse process seems to be encroaching onto the pedicle. And number 4, the anterior surface of the body is deepened than the posterior surface of the body. So this confirms the lumbar vertebra in description. Thank you.